I was asked to do a video on how I became an animal rights activist. As far as I can remember, I always loved animals. But like most people in this world who love animals, I never really made the connection until I was in my 20s that loving animals can only be accomplished if you stop eating animals and wearing animals and using them for entertainment, or thinking it's okay to use them for animal research or any of that stuff. So in the capacity that I had to love animals, I remember being in 6th grade and going and collecting funds for the local ASPCA and being really amazed when my teacher gave me $5. I thought, oh, he must be really rich. And I had a job when I was 10 years old at the cat practice, which was, looking back, a really incredible veterinary clinic that started the Don't Declaw movement. Paul Rowan and his partner, Carol Wilburn, who's a cat psychologist and wrote a lot of books called Cats on the Couch and Cats Prefer It This Way. And I'm in those books actually as a little 10-year-old because probably rightfully so, she thought that animals did a lot better when they had one-on-one human interaction. And so I'm sure it was very illegal, but I got paid like 25 cents an hour, and I would go and I would sit with the animals while they were cats. While they were waking up from anesthesia, I would talk to them and coax them and to eat if they were sickly, and it was a beautiful experience for me, and I certainly didn't do it for the 25 cents an hour. I did it because I loved animals and I wanted to help them. And then as I grew older, I started to make the connection that to be a true animal lover, you cannot use animals in any way. And so I really made the jump into being an active animal rights activist when I saw a clip of Brigitte Bardot, the French actress. And she was, I'll never forget it, she was on the ice in Canada at the horrific Canadian seal slaughter, you know, where they bludgeon the mothers and the baby seals who are all, you know, fuzzy and white and adorable and vulnerable, and they kill them for their fur. And I remember watching her, and she had her arms wrapped around one of the baby seals, and she said, and it was in French and they subtitled it on the bottom, they translated it, and she said, "Don't worry," she was talking to the seal, "don't worry, we'll get them." And I thought, I don't know who we is, but I want to be part of that team. I want to be part of that army that stops this. And here we are so many years later, and of course we haven't stopped people from wearing fur. We had a leg up on it though, we did years ago, and then unfortunately a lot of singers like J-Lo, Beyonce, a number of other artists, decided that it was cool to wear fur and started bringing it back into fashion, which is, it will never be because compassion is the fashion. But it definitely put us back as a movement, and we are clawing our way back up the ladder to bring it to people's attention that fur is nothing more than vanity, that, what is this saying? Fur coats are worn by beautiful animals and ugly people. I've always been an advocate of education and telling people why they should treat animals well and with respect and not eat them or wear them. But when it comes to fur, the gloves are off, because people know that it takes hundreds of animals to make one fur coat. They know that they're being trapped. They know that they're being beaten to death and drowned and anally and vaginally electrocuted. People know this. So I'm sorry. When it comes to fur, if you're doing a fashion show, we will show up there and we will shame you. we will get on the news. And if you're wearing a fur in an elevator, it's not going to be the most pleasant elevator ride, because we're going to tell you very loudly in front of everybody why you are making the wrong choices. And because fur is one of those issues that people know and they sort of decide to wear it anyway, they're wearing it because they're selfish. So animal rights activists often give people who are wearing fur a selfish reason not to, which is, we're going to make your life difficult. We are going to give the animals a voice, and we're going to do it loudly. So, little word of advice. If you wear a fur coat, it's at your own risk. Because chances are, when it comes to fur, gloves are off, people are going to embarrass you. It's not a good look. And what are you going to say? Oh, well, Jennifer Lopez wears it. No. No. We are all individuals, okay? We are not sheeple. Just because Jennifer Lopez hasn't, come to terms with, caring about animals, or, jumping into this century, which is even stranger because she says she's vegan, but, she's vegan for her health. And whatever reason that people want to go vegan, I'm not going to tell them not to and say, well, you should really care about animals. But, because, listen, the animals get saved regardless. But it's so hypocritical to be wearing an animal and then talking about how you're vegan. Anyway, so after I saw Brigitte Bardot, I decided that I wanted to become an animal rights activist. And so I called up PETA, and they hooked me up with Activists for Animals, which is a New York City group at the time that was very radical. And I made some lifelong friends from joining that group, and we would go to the Higgins pigeon shoots and get arrested and save pigeons that were being killed there. We would protest almost every single day of the week. Even in bitterly cold temperatures, we would do the PETA float, rather go naked than wear fur. I turned blue and thought I had to check myself into the hospital because I thought I had hypothermia. New York activists are hardcore, but listen, the animals don't get a day off just because, it's cold outside. So we would bundle up, or not, rather go naked. We'd sort of be like naked, but and we'd get out there and we'd fight for the animals. And the fact that we're still fighting against the New York City carriage horses just makes me want to cry, because this fight has been going on for a long time. NICLAS had amazing and still had beautiful, green-powered cars that are incredible and give you the tourist experience, the romantic experience of going through Central Park, and you're not harming a horse. So the fact that that's still going on just makes me furious and very, very sad. And I'm also not happy with the Mayor de Blasio, who I believe the animal rights community got elected with our campaign Anybody But Quinn, and he has not been able to retire these horses and save their lives. And it's outrageous. But anyway, so that's how I became an animal rights activist. I have to thank Brigitte Bardot and PETA, and I always say I was raised on PETA. And now it's part of my DNA. When I die, the only thing that I want it to say on my tombstone is, here lies an activist, an animal rights activist. Because at the end of the day, we all have to go to bed at night and look at ourselves in the mirror and wonder, did I do enough? Being an animal rights activist, we're always going to feel like, no, we haven't done enough, but we've done something. And something is better than nothing. And being an activist and being loud and being aggressive and educating people is part of our everyday life. It's part of what we get up and we know we have to do, whether we're shy, whether we're tired, whether our hearts are broken, whatever it is, that's what we do. We're activists. So To all the activists out there, I am so proud to be among you. The animal rights community is the best community in the world. It's the most important social justice movement of our time. So that's how I became an activist. And I always enjoy hearing from people that send me tweets and Instagram messages and Facebook messages and private messages on Facebook and tell me that I had something to do with turning them vegan or having them do their first protest. That just makes my heart so full. So thank you. And to all of the activists, keep doing what you're doing. We are going to get there. We are going to find the place of animal liberation. But until then, we fight. Until every cage is empty and every tank is drained.